So, as a part of this workshop on co-production and sustainability, we organized 3 groups, 3 tables working on the topic. And the second group was working on shootings and post-production, on international co-production. So the idea was to see how to organize shooting and post-production the most efficient way in terms of sustainability. We also had one of our experts that introduced virtual production, as virtual production is a new way of filming and that can be a way of having less carbon impact, well, even if it's a bit more complicated. So I'm with Ludovica Carini from EcoMovie, who is eco-manager, I can say. We were at the table also with Julie Billy from Jungfilm, French producer, Antoine Simkin from Les Films d'Antoine, also French producer, Joes de Vries from Apost Lab from the Netherlands, and finally Christopher Roos, who is a producer from Paprika. So Ludovica will present the discussion and the proposals that were made at that table.
Yeah. So our table was focused on production mainly. And the first thing that we addressed were the cultural differences and the different clashes that you can have when shooting in different locations, and that is true for everything. It's true for regulation, for COVID safety, and it's also true for sustainability. So we sort of came to the conclusion that we don't necessarily need to all have one tool, because one tool will never probably address the differences between all of us, but we should definitely agree on the methodology. So not what protocol, necessarily what label, but rather how should all of these labels work so that they can be interchangeable, they can be integrated with each other, and that brings us to would bring us to a level of either flexibility, but at the same time richness, sort of internationally. And so from that we also all agreed with the fact that all of these policies and all of these internal policies also should be driven by data. So there's research is starting now to develop. There's lots of tables, international even, and all of these sort of the priorities that are on set and on post-production should be decided accordingly, because of course we had the common point of, well, the film industry doesn't pollute as many others, and that is true, but there's also lots of other replies that we could give to that, such as we touch all of the sectors. We're a very mobile and agile type of business, and so that means that even the innovation that we can bring forward moves a lot faster and can be improved in multiple countries at the same time. So overall, what was sort of missing sometimes, and what the producers also said, was that the governance and the concreteness, and so the incentives and the governance and the concreteness should go together. And that's something that also me at EcoMovie we feel a lot, as consultants, that use a protocol to bring the producers along the journey. It's really crucial that we understand that the policy and the rules need to be applied very poignantly to the different sets. And so when it came to cost, innovation and tech, we also agreed on some positive notes, because of course when we think of co-production we think of travel, and we think that's unsustainable. But at the same time, our experience and the experience of the table was that often innovation can come from other sectors or from other countries, and so sometimes bridging the gaps or finding co-producers that can maybe provide you with new technology, with innovation, can outweigh the negative of the travel, or can outweigh the negative of having to do all of the bureaucracy of the different countries. And so the fact that we are a mobile industry that's project-based means that we can make it all very fast, and what we concluded was that it needs to be made kind of easy for producers and for first-time producers approaching the issue. And so awareness is one step, but then we need to get to a training step, which is after, of course, that. And so in that case, that's also why we agreed that having professionals that can help you in that transition and that are not going to weigh you down and cost you more, but that will actually help you also be cost effective and sustainable in all ways, so socially, environmentally and economic, should be the way forward.
Thank you, Ludovica.
Of course, thank you guys for having me.
Okay,